Start with you, Terry Milewski. Mr. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, says no, India is wrong and that Canada from time to time takes action against these Khalistani groups. I want you to enumerate for our viewers what you believe are the three things that Mr. Trudeau's government has done which would significantly deter these Khalistani groups.
Well, that's easy. I can't name one. The problem is that the Prime Minister's statement, and it pains me to say it as a Canadian, is hopelessly inadequate. It's not just that it's clueless. He doesn't seem to have a clue what he's talking about. Obviously, he wasn't properly briefed, if he was briefed at all on this. It misses the moment. It fails to recognize what a critical moment this is, that these Khalistanis have really crossed the line this time, and he has to recognize it. But it's not just clueless. It's also false for any prime minister of any party to look at the sad history of Canada's dealings with Khalistani terrorism over the last 40 years, to suggest that Canada has been taking it extremely seriously. Really? We were watching and wiretapping the culprits in the Air India bombing, for example, for 3 months before the bombs blew up and didn't figure out what was going on. Didn't take numerous warnings seriously. 3 weeks before the bombing, India warned Canada clearly and in writing, we are facing threats of bombs being smuggled aboard our planes in Canada in the luggage. You've got to crack down on baggage security. Okay. And the RCMP said, oh, those Indians are always complaining. They want free security. And they shelved it.
No, what I do want to know from Ray Locker is, you know, in the United States, for example, the San Francisco consulate just a few days ago was set on fire. I believe it's the second time this has happened in the last 3 months or so. The question that's being asked is, everyone knows that perimeter security, the outside security of embassies, missions, consul general's offices are all with the local authorities, are with the local police. And whether it's in the US or in Canada, these attacks simply don't seem to be stopping.
Well, it's hard to stop something unless you know who's going to do it beforehand. I mean, it's very difficult. Many of these embassies and consulates also have private security as well as police protection. I think it would behoove the folks in San Francisco to, put people outside of this consulate all the time. I don't know if that's happening or not, and I'm certainly hope that the people there, the police there, are trying to find out who caused this, who was behind this attack.
So, Klisman Murati, one of the things that is rather disingenuous in what Mr. Trudeau is saying is, and I think Terry Milewski is absolutely right, that there is precious little that Mr. Trudeau's government has done. The Indian External Affairs Minister says this is simply vote bank politics. He can't think of another reason as to why any government would, give fodder to these kinds of groups. What do you think is going on here? Why would not a country and a leader who is clearly courting India, everything from FTA to other economic deals, the Canadian government is courting India as a destination for its investments, a big market, so on and so forth. What can India do to drive home this point with Canada that this is a core issue? It's not just any protest. This is not a protest against an incumbent government or against a politician or a political party. This is a protest asking for the secession of one part of India. Surely that's unacceptable.
Are not unique to India. These are global in their scope. There are many different instances throughout history where we've seen secession movements take hold and motivate that specific demographic to use violence in some cases to get their voice heard. So this is something which India is going through. And it's also very historic. This conflict didn't start yesterday. And it's got many different instances of violence for this phenomenon to increase. When we look at what India can do to actually solve this, first of all, we need to define what solve actually means. Does it mean to actually destroy this movement and to oppress it and to keep it down? Or is there another solution which they can come up with? These tend to be a zero-sum game. Either the government get their way or the secession groups get their way. So this is a very difficult thing to, first of all, understand what does success actually mean. The second thing, when it comes time to foreign policy, communication is always very key. This is not only in terms of India-Canada relations, but also we saw violence at the at India House in London, which is down the road from our offices in London. And they are due to have a protest on Sunday, in fact, which is going to be in different capitals across the world. So naturally, safety and security comes first. A strong police presence needs to be there. Protesting in the UK isn't illegal, so this is something that they can do, but it needs to be within the borders of the law.